This setup is one 100 TPH alluvial rock tantalum-niobium processing plant, including the feeding part, washing part, beneficiation, separation part, crushing part, and dewatering parts. It is configured with a vibrating feeder, trommel scrubber, hammer crusher, shaking table, jig machine, dewatering equipment, and belt conveyor, etc. Please note we can design or adjust the solution based on your requirement and my situation. Feeding part 1. The raw ore is fed into the raw ore hopper by an excavator or wheel loader, etc. Under the hopper, there is a vibrating feeder for feeding the raw stone into a trommel scrubber more evenly and smoothly. The feeder with a grizzly bar has a grizzly gap of 75 mm, which can screen out bigger than 75 mm stone first, and transport to the stockpile via belt conveyor. Washing part 1. The smaller than 75 mm material goes into the trommel scrubber for washing the sticky clay and mud. The trommel is designed with a screen part. With a screen mesh aperture of 20 mm, one-layer screen, it can separate out more than 20 mm of gravel stone first. This more than 20 mm gravel is transported to the stockpile via a belt conveyor. Beneficiation, separation part 1. The smaller than 20 mm particles from the trommel scrubber will go to these sets jig separator directly, with a screen mesh aperture of 2 mm for the jig separator. It can get the tantalum-niobium concentrated 2 to 20 mm particles directly. 2. The smaller than 2 mm material goes to the next shaking table for recovery of the fine tantalum-niobium particles. 3. They designed a two-stage shaking table. The middlings from the first stage shaking table will go to the second stage shaking table. In this way, you can get a higher recovery rate. Crushing part 1. The separated stone is fed into a raw ore hopper. Under the hopper, there is one vibration feeder for feeding the stone into the hammer crusher more evenly. 2. The hammer crusher for crushing the stone into smaller than 20 mm. Then the crushed material will be transported to another 3 sets of jig separators for separation. Dewatering part 1. All the tailings from these jig separators will go to a spiral sand washer machine for dewatering first, then the waste gravel, sand can be transported away by belt conveyor. 2. All the tailings from the shaking table will go to the wheel sand washer for dewatering first. Since these parts tailing sand are very fine, so one dewatering screen machine is suggested to add here to make sure the dewatering effect is good enough. Then the waste sand can be transported away via a belt conveyor.